Previously on Higurashi When They Cry console arcs. The back room was dyed red, and it wasn't from the sunset pouring in through the window. The walls lit by the vermilion sunset were scattered with rusty red stains.
期待していたけど、結局また。もういいわ。バカバカしい。
シオン。はい。
Who am I really talking to right now? That's the million-dollar question, isn't it? Or rather, maybe I should be asking, who's that corpse at Satoko's house?
ケイちゃん、どうしたんです？
いや、なんでもない。
Shion is coming, with weapons she couldn't have possibly taken home. I'm sure Reina will be at the garbage mountain today, too. If Reina didn't go to school, I'm sure she'll be over there. I had no grounds for that, but I was convinced.
もうやめろよ、シオンの真似。どうして俺たちを騙したのか。俺が知りたいのはそれだけなんだ。
ごめんなさい。
Why is your mouth not moving?
ごめんなさい。ごめんなさい。
Mion immediately started apologizing. She slipped on her footing and knocked over some cans on the ground as she knelt down and pressed both her hands together.
謝らなくていい。もうどうしようもないことなんだから。
ケイちゃんとレナ、ずっと変だなって思ってたんだ。だから騙すつもりなんて全然なかったんだよ。
そんなことを聞いてない。なんでシオンになりすましてたのか、それを知りたいだけだ。
ごめんね。ひょっとしたらサトシと同じことが起きてるんじゃないかって私そう思って。
サトシ？
She must have deduced from our stories that all three of us were involved in Teppei's murder.
それで私、それならなおさら一人で逃げてしまったシオンのアリバイを作らなくちゃと思った。それでシオンのふりしてた。それだけなんだよ。お願い、信じて。
嘘はもうやめようよ、みーちゃん。
レナ。
Maybe I just didn't want to hear Mion's final words. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. Mion's voice echoed inside my head and synchronized with my own feelings. Maybe I was the one who wanted to apologize. Mion. I just wanted to regain our happy days. It wasn't supposed to end this way. Nobody wanted this! Mion's hair slipped through Reina's fingers in a gentle arc.
何が間違ってたんだろうね。どこで歯車が狂っちゃったんだろう。レナは何を間違えたんだろう。どうしてだろうね。
Reina went on, talking to herself. I felt the same way. I had mixed feelings as I gazed at Mion's closed eyes, knowing they would never open again. This was a matter of survival. This was the only way to break the heavy shackles of our collusion. Kill before being killed. That's one of the basic rules of survival. If Reina is willing to go that far, I'm prepared to fight. And I'm definitely going to win. As I decided that, I gazed at the bulge on the tarp where the hatchet was hiding underneath. And so it continues. Greetings, my name is Neosekken, and welcome back to my Let's Play of the Higurashi When They Cry console arcs. So the bodies continue to hit the floor, the paranoia in the survivors continues to rise, I am slightly sleep deprived. I'm feeling lucky tonight. So I'm gonna bet all my current life savings on Reina winning this showdown that we seem to be heading towards between herself and Keiichi. Please win, Reina. You wouldn't want to leave me destitute now, would you? That would not be very cute. I grabbed Mion's heavy body by the shoulders, and Reina grabbed her by the feet as we loaded her into the cart. Then we covered her with a blue tarp. Right before that, I discreetly moved the hatchet to the ground, all the while praying that Reina didn't notice. I think your prayers are going to go unanswered, and, well, you might lose a hair or two in the process, if your reflexes are fast enough. I raised my head to take a look around. Reina was simply staring at the ground. Finding a good spot to bury me? We pretended not to notice one another.
行こうぜ。今度は俺が引くよ。レナ、後ろを押してくれ。
うん、わかった。
Her response sounded mechanical. Her voice was inorganic, devoid of any emotion. I casually turned around while Reina was looking the other direction. Then I picked up the hatchet and gently tucked it under the tarp.
押すよ。
The cart nearly crashed into me as it started to move. We slowly pulled the cart, carrying Mion away from the garbage mountain. I suddenly remembered the day that Reina and I brought the statue back. I made an offhand joke at the time about how it felt like we were pushing around a dead body. Now that you mention it, you did make an offhand joke like that, didn't you? But I never thought I'd actually be transporting a corpse this way. Now that is irony. And to top it off, it was Mion's body. This was turning into a farce. The extreme force I had to project into my hands to pull the cart signified the weight of Mion's existence. I fought back the urge to cry as I walked to Satoko's house with heavy footsteps. I spent the whole time praying that we wouldn't run into anyone. What was Reina thinking back there while pushing the cart with our stiff cargo? You know, assuming that she hasn't offed herself out of despair over well, what's happened already in this timeline, I wonder what Rika's doing. Probably being dead. I'm confident, at least until we reach Satoko's house. There's no risk of her doing something with that kitchen knife. Probably. I cautiously looked back, hoping to discern something of the thoughts Reina kept locked in her heart. Reina didn't look back at me. She kept looking downward, concentrating solely on the task of walking forward, one step at a time. Right. Seeing Reina's emotionless expression was unbearably disheartening. When did this happen? My stomach churned because there were too many people whose thoughts I couldn't comprehend. What was Reina thinking right now? I can't trust anyone. It was a hopeless thing to say, but I couldn't allow anyone to make things worse. I wanted so badly to talk to Mion, who was lying dead in the cargo rack. If she was dead, there was some peace to be gained from that. She'll never have a sudden change of heart and try to kill me. It's a real sad way to look at it. Hey, Mion, please listen to me. Honestly, I'm afraid of Reina. At this point, I felt it was safe to tell Mion anything. It was such an ironic relationship, where we couldn't trust each other until one of us was dead. Does that really qualify as a trusting relationship? I would imagine by 99% of human standards, probably not.
ケイちゃん、ばっかじゃないの？
Oh yes, definitely.
そんなの信頼関係なんて言うわけないじゃん。友達でもなんでもないよ。
I felt like I could hear Mion's voice. That's true. If I couldn't bring myself to trust someone while they were still alive, that didn't sound like friendship at all.
でも安心しな。おじさんはケイちゃんのこと応援してるからさ。
Well, at least you got someone rooting for you, Keiichi, because I'm certainly not.
私はケイちゃんの友達だよ。絶対に。ね。
Mion's cheerful voice called out to me, over and over.
ケイちゃん、頑張って。ケイちゃん、頑張れ。ケイちゃん、しっかり。
I stared back at Reina as she walked forward with a blank expression. Even though Mion was lying dead under the tarp, it felt like she was encouraging me. Selfish of me. Only finding my courage after a dead person encouraged me. Even though Reina and I were actually the ones who killed Mion. My ears were ringing. It couldn't be helped. I had no choice. I started feeling sick. I didn't want to find myself in a situation where I needed that concealed hatchet. And I didn't want Reina to have an opportunity to use her concealed knife. Honestly, I didn't want to kill anyone else. I wanted to have lots of friends. To laugh and cry together with all my living friends. What are you thinking? Don't lose heart. You swore an oath. I sighed and shook my head. The time for those sweet dreams has already passed. Open your eyes, Keiichi Maebara. That era of playing around and having a pleasant time with your perfect group of friends is already a thing of the past. Kill before being killed. Otherwise, you'll get killed. That's all there is to it. Only if you let it. As I stared at Reina's slender figure, my heart slowly filled with wretched, murderous intent. Once again, the voice of the crickets filled my ears. Shut up. Leave me alone. The more I wished for their silence, the louder the crickets cried out, like they were trying to criticize me. We managed to travel from the garbage mountain to the Hojo house without running into anyone. The surrounding area was completely swallowed by the dusk. Everything around me looked gray. I was a bit surprised to notice that the kitchen window was still broken. That's no good. It'll be problematic if the neighbors start looking around and stumble upon the corpses. I'll have to fix that window as soon as possible.
平気だよ、ケイチ君。
Reina reached into her pocket and pulled out the key.
あ、これ？昨日ここに来た時に見つけて持って帰っておいたの。
Reina slid the key into the keyhole. Clank. Then the door opened like normal.
窓のことは気にしないでも平気だよ。レナにいい考えがあるから。
You know, maybe I'm overthinking this a bit. But should I be deeply concerned that she has the key to Satoko's house? Like, does that mean something? Or am I just thinking about it a little too hard? And no one has to answer that. I'm just thinking aloud. Reina's expression as we entered the house indicated that she could see right through my thoughts. I hesitated for a moment to decide if I should take my shoes off, but I chose to leave them on and followed her inside. Face death with your shoes on, boy. The inside smelled as bad as ever. Reina looked eerily dignified while she calmly looked back at me and surveyed the area.
みーちゃん、ここに川の字に寝かせてあげようよ。
Body's gotta stink something fierce by now. I was confused when I heard that, but I quickly responded.
ああ、そうだな。
I did my best to enunciate every word in my typical intonation to avoid agitating her.
どうしたのかな、ケイチくん。
You're sounding too normal. That's deeply concerning, Keiichi.
あ、いや、俺、ミオンを取ってくるよ。
I said that in a light tone, like I was talking about carrying in the luggage. Then I went back to the cart to get Mion. Mion felt like a heavy slab of meat as I carried her on my back. I filled with the hatchet to keep it securely inside the tarp as I struggled to walk forward. Unfortunately, the hatchet was far too big to keep it hidden. It can't be helped. If it becomes necessary, I'll have no choice but to keep going. It's not such a big deal. Just to be safe, I adjusted the tarp on the side facing Reina. Something slipped, and a kitchen knife fell to the ground. That must be one heavy kitchen knife to make a claim like that. I gently picked up the knife. Huh? Does that mean Reina isn't carrying the knife? The knife that killed Mion was still soaked in blood. A single long strand of Mion's hair was stuck to that blood. It bothered me, so I tried to peel Mion's hair off, but the hair was so firmly caked into the blood that I couldn't get it off. Well, whatever. I concealed the kitchen knife in my left hand and made my way inside the house once again. When I came back inside, Reina was in the kitchen lighting the stove.
おかえり。
What you cooking?
ずいぶん遅かったね。
ああ、重くて手間取っちゃってさ。
I answered nonchalantly, then set Mion down between Satoko and Shion. I couldn't bear to see these three girls reduced to mere objects, so I found a sheet in the closet and laid it on top of them. None of them had to be objects if you just kept your murderous impulses in check. I know it's kind of hard with that little bug in your system, but still, not impossible. Chapter 6 kind of showed that. For a moment, it looked like a group of girls having a sleepover.
おやすみ。もう楽にしていいんだぞ。
I held my hands together in a prayer. Mion, it looks like you're all having pleasant dreams together. I hope everyone is having fun doing club activities together, living our peaceful everyday life in some other world. That is my only wish. Well, I tell you that Chapter 8 exists, but, well, I can't break through the fourth wall like you can. You're special like that. Sentimental feelings rushed through me, and tears began streaming out. Though they looked like they were only sleeping, in truth, the three of them were dead. They could move no longer. Sure they can. You just gotta attach some rope to them and then just, I don't know, get a crane or something, and then you can just puppet them along like little marionettes. She took a pile of letters out of the mailbox and carried them into the kitchen earlier. She held a stack of them together over the stove.
ああ、これ焼くの。この家ごと。だって、みんなをこのまま置き去らしにできないでしょ？
I guess not.
あ、うん。それもそうだな。
Although, if you need help burning the house down, get some cooking oil for Keiichi. You'll burn this place down real quick. The calm tone in Reina's voice sent a chill through me. I was struck by the feeling that I was all on my own. Which might actually be advantageous given the current situation. But even so, these are our friends, right?
それはね、全部圭一くんのせいなんだよ。
A deep voice I could scarcely believe belonged to Reina came from the kitchen. The voice was so eerie that I couldn't bring myself to turn and look back at the source.
レナだって、圭一くんみたいに甘っちょろい涙を流しながら、みんなの死を悼みたいよ。レナだって、本当はこんなこと望んでなかったんだよ。鉄平を殺そうって思ったのは、そうすれば、さとこちゃんがまた学校に来て、平穏な毎日を取り戻せると思ったからだよ。
I felt the same way. But I decided to hold my tongue. Reina quickly lowered a letter toward the stove. She did so in a careful, mechanical motion. Very precisely. The letter smoldered and crackled on the stove. Then Reina picked up another letter with one hand and held it over the stove.
内緒だよって言ったのに。圭一くん、しーちゃんに話しちゃったよね。それが、終わりの始まりだったんだと思う。いろんな間違いの、始まりの場所っていうのかな。
Reina glared at me at the flames of the stove flickering in her eyes. I thought that Reina was just muttering to vent hard feelings. But the next moment...
わかるかな、圭一くん。圭一くんがしーちゃんに話しちゃったから、しーちゃんは巻き込まれた。さとこちゃんを預かっていたから、しーちゃんは死んだ。しーちゃんが死んだから、みーちゃんも死んだ。さとこちゃんは、結局助けられなくて死んだ。リカちゃんを巻き込んだから。つまり、悪い出来事には、全部ちゃんとした原因があるんだね。
すまない。
Once I heard Rika-chan's name, I was struck with a sense of that something seemed wrong, but my gut urged me to apologize first. Yeah, now that you mention it... With how you worded it just now... Rika-chan only got involved, so to speak, until after our murder plot took place. And she started asking questions about where Satoko disappeared to. So, unless I'm misunderstanding you, and that's possible, like I mentioned at the beginning of this video, I am slightly sleep deprived, so my brain is not 100% functional at the moment. Are you actually saying that Satoko-chan got killed the way she did, however exactly it ended up happening, because we got Rika-chan involved? Oh no. You have the key to her house. You apparently took it at one point. Reina, don't tell me you killed Satoko and Shion. I think I've had enough twists and turns just for this one story arc here to give me a bad case of whiplash.
謝らなくていいよ。圭一くんだって仕方なかったんだもん。ね、気にしないでいいよ。圭一くんはちっとも悪くない。
Then why are you having him apologize, Reina?
これは運命だったんだよ。生まれた時から決まっている。どうしようもない運命なの。
Yes, yes, it's everybody's fate to die. Very deep stuff. So what's your point, Reina? Reina picked up a half-burned letter from the stove and dropped it. A nasty smell rose up, irritating my nose. What? It's just burned paper. It doesn't smell that bad. Reina, stop playing with the fire. If you're going to burn it, do it quickly. Otherwise the smell will drift to the surrounding area. I thought that to myself as I carefully watched Reina's hands. But for some reason, I couldn't bring myself to say anything. When Reina grew tired of playing with the letters, she grabbed a jug of vegetable oil from the cupboard under the stove. She poured a thin line in a circle around the stovetop.
これはね、お社様のたたりなの。
Reina had a cold-hearted smile on her face, the likes of which I'd never seen before. What's going on? Why is Reina smiling at a time like this? For once in your miserable life, just think for more than 5 seconds, and you might come to your answer all on your own. Unlike the 3 dead girls sleeping like angels in the back room, the Reina standing in front of me looked like a cruel demon.
これはレナに与えられた罰なの。これはお社様のお怒りなの。レナが圭一くんに頼ったりしたからみんな死んだんだ。レナが圭一くんに甘えちゃったからお社様は圭一くんの体を使ってレナを叱っているんだよ。
おい、レナ、大丈夫か？どうしたんだよ、急に。
どうしてそんなに慌てているのかな？
I could be asking you the same question, actually.
レナは正気だよ。今度は失敗しない。レナはどんなことがあっても負けないの。さっき圭一くんが運命なんて言葉を口にしたとき、レナは気がついたの。圭一くんなんて初めから信じちゃいけなかったんだって。そもそもの間違いは圭一くんを頼りにしちゃったからだったんだって気がついたの。
What a very unfriendly thing to say. Not being able to depend on your friends, especially when the going gets rough. Only a villain would say something like that in a shonen story.
でももう分かっちゃったから大丈夫だよ。今度こそうまくやれる。
おい、レナ、うまくやるって何をやるつもりだよ。
I'm poking fun at you, Reina, but I am still betting on you to win this confrontation here, so you still technically have my support. My financial support. Anxiety steadily piled up inside my chest. Reina lit the stove. The oil around the stove ignited and the flames soared up. All the oil around the stove lit up in a flash, and the entire kitchen was covered in flames in an instant.
レナはね、もう負けないの。お社様でも何でも、レナの幸せを壊す者は許さない。だからレナは戦うの。亡くなったらもう一度積み上げるんだ。
Well, Reina, I don't think the Orishiro-sama of your imagination really gives a crap that you won't forgive her. Just saying. That Orishiro-sama is a literal god of death, mayhem, and destruction in your head. What reason would an entity like that have to give to give a, to yeah, why would they care?
壊されても壊されてもレナは戦って幸せをつかみ取るの。
You can't grab what's been destroyed, Reina. Seeing the passion in Reina's eyes made me want to run away. Reina has gone crazy. She has several episodes ago, along with the rest of you. Reina was so exhausted with everything that's happened that I drove her to the brink of insanity. I need to get out of this house. Reina has finally gone mad. She hasn't gone mad, she's just gone absolutely bonkers. Believe it or not, there is a difference between regular insanity and bonker insanity.
レナ、もう帰ろう。ひとまずここを出るんだ。お前疲れてるんだよ。それだけなんだ。ただそれだけのことなんだよ。
何言ってるの？レナは疲れてなんかいないよ。
That's just the adrenaline talking, Reina.
それに、どんなに疲れてたって頑張らなくちゃね。レナはもう人に頼ったりしない。負けたり泣いたり逃げたりしない。あんなに楽しかった毎日を一度は手に入れたんだ。もう一度絶対に手に入れる。どんなことをしてでもレナは幸せになる。お社様なんかに邪魔されてたまるか。
Reina slowly stepped forward from the flames with a slight smile on her face. As though the heat didn't faze her at all.
レナ、もう分かった。分かったから。
圭一くん、心配いらないってば。
Way too late for that, Reina.
レナは大丈夫だよ。レナは絶対に死なないし。
I am absolutely convinced that you will die.
この手でもう一度幸せをつかむまでは絶対に死なない。お社様になんか邪魔させない。今度はレナがみんなを救い出してあげる番なんだからね。
I think you've done enough to help everyone as it is, Reina. This is bad. Everything became clear to me. Even if I tried talking to Reina, there was no way I would get through to her. It's like the person before me was another being, wearing Reina's face as a mask. I wasn't sure what to do, but I understood that she was dangerous. Well, also like a shonen story, in situations like this, there is only one other way you can get through to someone. You literally beat some sense into them. Run away. I have to run away. Haven't you ever visited a warrior therapist in your life, Keiichi? Physical trauma really can help sometimes. I rushed off toward the entrance. But the moment I took a step, Reina started to move.
圭一くん。
Reina lunged straight toward my chest. Taken off guard by her surprisingly gentle touch, I quickly grabbed Reina's slender body with both my hands.
圭一くん、やっと捕まえた。
一緒に帰ろうぜ。
I spoke gently while holding her tight with both my hands. Please, let my thoughts get through to her. We could recruit new club members at school and regain our happy days that way. Right? What, murder them too? And you could lead the club this time, Reina. Right, Reina? I tightly embraced Reina's frail body with both my arms. This was the first time in my life I'd ever hugged a girl so tight. Saw that coming from 7 miles away. At first, my body seemed to go numb. Then, slowly, a warmth spread through my stomach like I was being gouged with a burning torch.
何言ってるのかなレナはもう圭一くんのこと全然信じてないんだよ。 何か勘違いしちゃったのかな
He's real good at that, misunderstanding things. So much so to where you can't really fault the guy too much. It's like having a disability. My body was burning up, but it wasn't just from the heat of the flame-soaked room. The heat was pouring out of my stomach. When I touched it with my hand, I felt an odd sensation along my palm. There was something sticking into my stomach. Well, I doubt it's a stick of garlic bread.
圭一くんが持っていた包丁だよ。さっきみーちゃんを刺したやつだね。
それは。
You're wrong, Reina. You're the one who brought that knife.
レナを殺そうとしてたんでしょ。レナ、ちゃんと知ってるよ。リアカーにその包丁、しっかり積んでたよね。
違う。
When I tried speaking, it felt like even more blood came flowing out of my stomach.
分かってないよね、圭一くん。レナはもう、圭一くんは信じないって言ったんだよ。運命なんて信じない。お社様も怖くない。レナはこの手で、もう一度幸せをつかむの。それが私の願いだよ。
Reina's terrifying smile made me lose all the strength in my body. What was I to Reina? What did I do? Exist? I pulled out the knife lodged in my stomach and tossed it away. It was the knife from this house. The same knife that killed Shion Satoko, then took Mion's life. And in the end it stabbed me too. My consciousness was quickly fading.
圭一くんは、お社様から命令されただけなんだよね。レナを殺そうとしたのは、お社様に操られていたからなんだよね。大丈夫。レナはちゃんとわかってるよ。圭一くんは、本当はそんなひどいことするような人じゃないもんね。わかってる。わかってるから大丈夫だよ。
I don't know, we already killed Tepe. I mean, does that really, oh, who am I kidding? Why am I trying to reason with a bunker lady right now?
レナは圭一くんを、
I'm trying to,
お社様から助けてあげたんだよ。
maybe I'm going nuts too. I'm trying to reason with a bonker lady.
その包丁でね。
I had no idea what Reina was talking about. I was being manipulated by Orishiro-sama? Being saved through death? Reina, what are you talking about? You're the one who's acting strange. Look in the mirror, son.
でも、レナはちょっぴり傷ついたんだよ。だって圭一くん、レナのこと、その包丁で殺そうとしてたんだもん。
It was actually a hatchet, but details.
レナは最後まで、圭一くんのことを大切な友達だと思っていたのに。かわいそうな圭一くんのこと、助けてあげようと思っていたのに。
By what? Stabbing him with a pencil instead? That can't be. Reina still thought of me as a precious friend? Dummy? Dum-dum? Moron? You were thinking of her as your precious friend too, as you were planning to kill her in quote-unquote self-defense. Like, just... I'm just gonna shut up for a minute and just let this continue until somebody says something else here that forces me to interject again.
さよなら、圭一くん。レナに謝ってもいいよ。
Already did. Didn't work out for me too well. Reina, if I apologize, will you forgive me? I'm sure she'll forgive you twice as hard with another kitchen knife. You're wrong. You're wrong, Reina. It's not my fault. I wasn't plotting anything evil. I swear. You're wrong. It's just a terrible misunderstanding, Reina. You delusional little boy.
ごめんなさい。ごめんなさい。ごめんなさい。
Every time I spoke, I could feel an unsettling sensation flowing out of my stomach. But I couldn't stop apologizing. If Reina wants me to apologize, I'll do it as much as I can. If that's what it takes to take back our everyday happiness. Hey, you know, now that I think about it, this is probably what Mion was thinking right before you two decide to shish kebab her.
Dame. 謝っても無駄だから。無駄だから。
Told ya. I heard the sound of the front door opening and closing. Is that you, Oishi? Did you come here to ruin this betting match? My life savings are at stake here. Don't interfere. Then the room got quiet. At that point, I could only hear the vague sounds of the crackling fire in the burning room. I'm going to die. Right here. Things get quieter on the verge of death. Cold. So cold. Hey, Mion. I guess this is what death feels like. Satoko. Shion. Rika-chan. Reina. I could hear the sound of the flames. Looking back, the Hojo house was covered in tall flames that set it apart from the dense forest backdrop. That's fine. That was my past burning up behind me. My happy days in Hinamizawa were up in flames. In other words, this was a resetting ceremony. Starting now, Ren and Ryugu would have to rise up to start over again. Hey, the moon's kind of purple right now. Or is that a blood moon? I sat down on my bike. Keiji-kun's bike can stay where it is. He'll never ride it again. And there's no point trying to hide it. More importantly, I still have something I need to do. Something I absolutely must do in order to reclaim my happiness. What, go murder Rika? Since she got involved too?
さよなら、ケイチ君。さよなら、みーちゃん、しーちゃん、さとこちゃん。さよなら。でも、私はまだ負けない。終われないから。
I opted to head in the direction away from my home. I steadily made my way up the hill. The goal was to reach higher ground. A hilltop with a nice view would be ideal for surveying the state of the village. I'll have to visit the Furuti Shrine once more. Yeah, it's starting to look like I might be right here. I was neither excited nor tense as I imagined what I was about to do. Rika-chan, I'm heading for you now. Sorry I'm late. Wait patiently for Reina, okay? I'll save you too, Rika-chan. I'll set you free from Morishiro-sama right away. The hatchet Keiji-kun brought here was lying under the tarp in the cart. I wrapped the hatchet in the tarp, then sat it in the basket of my bike. After hiding the hatchet in the tarp, I couldn't help but chuckle.
ナタなんて大げさな武器。圭一くんには不似合いだよ。
I pedaled my bike while fighting the urge to laugh. I reached out to adjust the tarp while still pedaling, hoping to avoid letting anyone see the hatchet in the basket. For some reason, I couldn't help but enjoy myself while pedaling my bike. I hate to rain on your parade here, Reina, but I might as well let you know now. Rika is not going to be as easy a kill as you think she will be. Just ask Shion from Chapter 4. Or was it 5? I think it was 5. Unable to hold it in any longer, I began to laugh on my own. I might be everyone's savior. I'm rescuing everyone from endlessly enduring the curse of Orishiro-sama.
リカちゃんも今レナが助けてあげるからね。
I held down the tarp to keep the hatchet secure while riding my bike as fast as possible. I encountered an unexpected sight at the shrine parking lot. Dozens of police cars were parked there, with their lights flashing. Was I right earlier about my prediction about Rika-chan likely being dead right now, too? Officers in uniform were running back and forth. It was a completely different scene compared to my visit this afternoon. Right. I visited here earlier in the afternoon to take care of Rika-chan. Rika-chan knew all our secrets. Though she spoke innocently with a cheerful face, she occasionally warned us with a know-it-all look on her face. Honestly, the girl named Rika-chan was far stronger than she led people to believe. So you're aware. It seems like she was able to see through everything. I planned to kill Rika-chan after school, when she was on her way home. I hid under the stone steps and waited for her to come home. But Rika-chan was far too capable for that. While Rika-chan was climbing the steps, she leaned over the rail and called out to me.
レナ、こんなところで何をしているのですか？リカちゃんに用があったんだ。
I lied to her right off the bat.
西宮殿に連れて行ってくれるかな。どうしても隠したいものがあるから。あそこなら誰にも見つからずに隠すことができるでしょう。
He was incredibly suspicious. A sudden request with no context. And even if Rika-chan got cautious and tried to run away, my next move was already decided. But no, the result was entirely different. Rika-chan made no effort to resist or flee. She simply nodded and turned her back, then began to speak.
同じことなのです。ここでレナが僕を殺しても殺さなくても結果は同じことなのです。
Rika wore an expression suggesting that she had given up on everything while walking up to the shrine grounds and unlocking the door to the ritual tool storehouse. I wasn't sure if I was more surprised or disappointed. Did she really think the ritual storehouse was such a trivial matter? No. Rika-chan should know it all too well. She probably knows everything about it.
レナがこれからしようとしていることもしてもしなくても同じことなのです。すべては決まっている通りにしかならないのです。
Even I could tell my face had tensed up in Rika-chan's words.
リカちゃんも それが運命だっていうのかな。そうです。全部初めから決まっていることなのです。
Rika-chan said it again. I could feel the urge to kill bubbling up inside me. Destiny. I wouldn't let myself live and die at the mercy of such a concept. I'm going to fight. I'll take back my happiness with my own hands. The next moment I heard a voice. Maybe people are starting to show up at the town hall for a meeting. So I took the key from Rika-chan's hand, locked her in this ritual storehouse, and left the area. Rika-chan didn't fight it at all. Accepting fate means admitting defeat. I'll come to kill you later, so please wait a little longer. Rika-chan. I got off my bike at the parking lot, and quietly walked toward the stone steps. I could hear an uncountably large number of deep, hoarse voices. Is this some sort of prayer? There were so many people near the steps. It seemed like every elderly person in the village was gathered here. They were all rubbing their hands together, praying in the direction of the shrine.
かけまくもかしこみおやしろ狼様を沈めたまえ。
広きや月見めぐみをかたじけなみなつり。
I tried to gently speak to the old woman in the front, but she was so intently focused on her prayers that my voice didn't seem to reach her ears. I then tried calling out to the old woman next to her. The old woman looked back at me with frustration and rage for having interrupted her prayer. I quickly turned and looked away.
すみません。何かあったんですか？
わしは知らん。
The old man ran off and disappeared into the crowd. That old man's incomprehensible reaction rubbed me the wrong way. What did I do? Why did he look at me like that? Maybe you got some Keiji's blood on you and he noticed? I found an old man sitting quietly a few steps away and called out to him in a soft voice.
何があったんですか？
たたりじゃ。たたりが起きたんじゃよ。
The elderly people nearby turned to look at me.
リカちゃまがお社様のお怒りに触れてしまわれたんじゃよ。
Somebody pick up that phone, because I called it. Again. Not happy about this, by the way, but I mean, hey.
わしらはもう終わりじゃ。ひなみ沢は終わりなんじゃ。
何を言ってるんですか？
Suddenly, an old woman standing nearby stretched out her wrinkly hand. Then she grabbed me by the wrist. I immediately cried out. A sharp pain quickly coursed through my wrist. Let me go. The elderly people nearby all turned back toward me at once, staring at me with a stone-cold look in their eyes. They've lost it.
あんたもその目で見てきたらいい。
あれがお社様のお怒りでなくて何だというのか。境内の賽銭箱の前で死んでおった。
I can see the mountain dogs have got to her.
腹を盾に裂かれておったんじゃよ。あれはたたりなんじゃ。
Rika-chan was dead and her stomach was sliced open? It can't be true. Because Rika-chan should still be locked in the ritual storehouse.
あれはお社様のたたりなんじゃよ。
お社様の
お社様のお社様の
Curse. Chills raced down my neck. The odor drifting around the vicinity was reminiscent of the scent of death. An old woman rubbing beads near her heart gradually raised her head. Then she slowly lifted her index finger to point. Her wrinkly index finger stopped directly aimed at my chest.
お社様のたたり。
It was like some creepy divination ritual.
もうやめて。
I tried to shake off the hand of the old woman who grabbed me. I need to get out of here, right away. However, the old woman continued tightly clenching my wrist.
離して離してってば。
I vigorously swung my arms back and forth. I shook them enough force to knock the old woman down to the ground. I reached my hand out to help the old woman, but then stopped myself. On the far side of the steps, I noticed a man who wasn't from around here, staring intently at me. Did he need something from me? The way he glared at me was intimidating. And after being flustered for a moment, I noticed he was staring at something red. Keiji-kun's blood was all over the front of my dress. Well, you're done fucked now. When I stabbed Keiji-kun with the kitchen knife in Satoko-chan's house, I did feel a warm, sticky sensation on my chest. Damn it. Why didn't I notice it any sooner? I casually crossed my arms in front of my chest in an effort to conceal the blood, though I knew it was already too late. I suddenly started to feel uncomfortable about all the blood stuck to my dress. How many people have already seen the traces of Keiji-kun's blood on me? Well, here's the thing. They're probably all thinking right now that you probably killed Rika. That old lady was pointing right at the blood. Just then, I noticed the man in the distance holding a hand to his ear and moving his lips.
竜宮レーナー、発見しました。
Located Reina Ryuko. I could hear a response come in from through the earphone. An outsider working for some organized group. No doubt about it, that man was a plainclothes police officer.
了解。
Just then, the detective and I made eye contact. He casually looked up to the sky to avert his gaze. That gesture all but confirmed he was monitoring me. Why? How did he know my name and face? What did he say Roger about? Was he speaking to prefectural police headquarters? Even if he started getting suspicious when he saw the blood, it didn't add up. It was weird that he knew my name. Extremely weird. I was filled with the unpleasant feeling that I was taking one step forward, 2 steps back. My nervous breakdown was partially alleviated when the voices of the elderly people reached my ears.
リカちゃまがたたりに遭わねばならんようなことを知ってしまったのじゃ。
お社様のたたりを一人で引き受けてくださったのじゃ。
I thought it was pathetic of the old folks to speak about so callously. It seemed like the elderly people were quickly growing less afraid of Arashiro-sama. Because if the curse targeted Rika-chan, it meant that they had escaped harm themselves. They were egotistically regarding Rika-chan's death as a sign of their own safety. Only the wisdom of the elderly could allow them to live with such a vile worldview. Perhaps that's necessary in order to endure unmanageable situations. A skill necessary to go on living. But that way of thinking ultimately won't solve anything. What if that foul behavior is the source of Orishiro-sama's anger and the true cause of the curse? Maybe Orishiro-sama is killing all the people involved in order to punish them for something they shouldn't have done. If that's the case, I'll definitely be the next target. For killing Teppei Hojo, Michan, and Keiichi-kun. Okay, so I guess you didn't kill Satoko and Shion. Good to know that, at least. I guess I was thinking a bit too hard about that key, after all. Reina Ryugu is a murderer. I jumped to my feet and took off running. My blood-soaked shirt fluttered about. I pushed aside all the elderly people standing in my way, then stopped to hop on my bike. In the corner of my vision, I could see the plainclothes police officer's face turn pale and raise hell as he watched my actions. I couldn't care less. I won't allow the police to catch me. I won't let myself be killed by the likes of Orishiro-sama. Once again, I'll have to rise up and to grab hold of my happiness. I took off on my bike at full speed. I raced through the forest road, where the sun had already set. It was dark, so I couldn't see the road very well. I might topple over if I simply hit a pebble. But even so, I had to run away. I had to get out of there. I had to escape. A siren rang out behind my back. The flashing red lights of a patrol car lit the dark forest road. I turned down a single-lane road that intersected the forest road. If I continue in this direction, I'll end up in Okinomiya. I might be able to escape if I disappear to the crowd of the city. However, even if I pedal my bike at full speed, there's no way I can outrun a car on this narrow road. What should I do? My hesitation spread to my feet on the pedals, and the bike started to slow down. I heard a strong voice calling out to me over the loudspeaker. It was a familiar voice. As if being told to stop would encourage me to do the opposite. So I began pedaling my bike at full speed, once again. I pulled back on the handlebars to make a sharp turn toward the forest at full speed. My bike jostled on the rugged terrain, but even so, this was better than running on foot. I was better off heading into the forest, where the patrol car couldn't follow. Right away, the path was blocked by tree roots and large stones that prevented me from riding my bike forward. It's all right. I expected as much. I tossed my bike aside along the bumpy trail. Then I caught a glance at the hatchet wrapped in the tarp in the basket of my bike. I picked it up without hesitation. This is better than being unarmed. I ran, and ran, and ran. I sprinted through the dimly lit forest as fast as I could manage. I couldn't tell left from right, or east from west. I couldn't hear anything except the sound of my own labored breath and the leaves crunching underfoot. My legs got drenched in water up to my ankles as I charged through a stream. Is that the river flowing from Onikafuchi Swamp? If so, I haven't made it very far. How much farther is it to Okinomiya? I pushed myself to run even faster, but my feet got tangled. My calves were bulging from the fatigue. but I wasn't wasting any time worrying about what could prove fatal. So I kept pumping my legs, left and right, running like I was about to fall over. How far did I run? Before I realized it, the surrounding area was completely silent. I couldn't hear the siren of the patrol car any longer. Maybe the patrol car didn't notice me take that sharp turn a little while ago. You wish. Even so, I can't get careless. I need to keep running until nobody can possibly follow. I was so exhausted I wanted to drop the hatchet I was holding. This area looks somehow familiar. That's it. This looks like the forest where we chased down and killed Teppei Hojo. Back where the tragedy began. He was trying to flee, so I ran after him and swung my hatchet. I was the pursuer on that day, but today I'm the one on the run.
疲れちゃった。
I was suddenly struck by a bout of fatigue. I stopped running and walked 2 or 3 steps before losing all energy and collapsing on the spot. Chasing, running, killing, being killed. Changing the subject and object of those activities didn't alter the meaning much. This was all decided from the start. Reina, this is destiny. The words Riki-chan and Keiichi-kun used earlier came back to me.
そっか。そうだよね。悪あがきなんて無意味だよね。レナ、もう疲れちゃった。ちょっとだけ目を閉じてもいいかな。
Nobody was there, but I insisted on talking anyway. That wasn't unusual. I've been living my life that way for a long time. There's nothing special about today. I'm lonely and enjoy being with people, but I'm unbelievably terrified of needing to depend on others. That's not limited to today. So I would talk to the other person living inside of me. A courageous person who always encourages me to do my best. By talking it out, I'm able to gradually calm myself and return to being the cheerful, stupid Reina while I'm around everyone else. That's right. Everyone is already gone. So there's no need to be stupid and cheerful anymore. I'm so tired. I tilted my head back. The massive moon was quietly looking down at me through the overgrown trees. A pleasant breeze blew along my side.
さーて、圭一さんはどこでございましょう。絶対に見つけ出してみせますことよ。
Huh. I heard a familiar voice.
どんなにお逃げになっても、私に目をつけられたらおしまいですわよ。
バカ、来るな！
I suddenly rose to my feet.
圭一くん？さとこちゃん？まさか、二人とも、生きてたの？
I looked around the area, but I was just surrounded by a dark forest, with occasional wind scattering the leaves. Was that a hallucination?
ばっかでー。ケイちゃん、逃げる方向が間違ってるよ。そっち行ったらダメだって。 鬼ごっこってのは体力勝負じゃなくて、ここ知力勝負なの。
さとこ、こっちなのですよ。絶対に逃がしませんことよ。
ムキになったさとこは動きが読みやすいですね。
This is probably a dream. I must still be sleeping in that forest. Everyone can have fun club activities together inside Reina's dreams. Hey, let Reina join in too. I came all this way to see you all, so let Reina play tag too. Huh? I was suddenly overcome with the urge to cry. But why? My heart was racing and my chest tightened. It hurt. I wanted to go back. I wanted things to go back to the way they were. I wanted to go back to those days when we had fun club activities every day. I wanted to go back to see Mi-chan and Keiichi-kun.
竜宮レイナはこの辺りに潜んでいるはずです。
総力上げて探せ。草の根分けても絶対に探し出せ。
Whose voice is that? Rika-chan? Toko-chan? Mi-chan? Shi-chan? Keiichi-kun? Then I woke up. I had fallen asleep at some point, leaning against a big tree. My cheeks were soaked. Huh? Was I crying in my dream? What did I see?
発見次第射殺。
Mountain dogs.
了解。
That imposing voice sent a chill down my spine. It seemed like there were a lot of them. I could hear several voices and a lot of footsteps. And I heard intermittent mechanical sounds from their communications equipment. Where am I? Which way should I run? I walked softly, doing my best not to make a sound. I could see a bright light. There were a bunch of lights up ahead. It looked like the schoolyard. I might be able to reach the mountains from there. I clicked my tongue. Even though I was heading towards Okinomiya, I must have taken a wrong turn and ended up at the school. There were a lot of people coming and going at the schoolyard. I could see several trucks and vans, and a bunch of strange people that looked like armed guards wandering around the schoolyard. Looks like the cleanup operation's already started. A large number of unfamiliar people were already hanging around the school. What the hell is going on?
いたぞ。
I heard a dry sound the same moment that a dazzlingly bright light was pointed at me. A gunshot? That was the first time in my life I heard an actual gunshot. It was rather different from the movies. It sounded more like a firecracker. Bang, bang. I heard it from a different direction this time. Apparently the enemies had surrounded me without me noticing. Enemies? Would police officers really be so quick to fire at a suspect? Regardless, I need to get out of here. So I started running again. My feet slid on the ground and kicked up pebbles. I left my hatchet behind earlier. Should I go get it? What should I do? Given the situation, I hesitated to make a quick decision. I'd run, personally. Perhaps I was finding it difficult to accept that I was suddenly being shot at. I have to go back. I won't be able to fight without a weapon. They have guns! You wouldn't win! You probably wouldn't even be able to get one of them before getting shot to death. But when I calmed down, I realized that a hatchet was a poor weapon to use against enemies armed with guns. Thank you! So I ran back to the road I came from without doubting myself. I noticed several men armed with guns running in this direction. I didn't recognize their faces, and I couldn't understand why they were all dressed in dark outfits. But the one thing I did understand was that their muzzles smelled of gunpowder and were pointed right at me. Even though I was able to keep calm, I still didn't know what to do. There was nothing else to do. The shot struck me. The shot made me feel like I was floating in the air. A strand of my hair gently fell down from the sky. The next moment, I tumbled to the ground. Some sharp pebbles cut into my cheeks, and I banged my ankle on a tree root. My body started rolling down the hill. I was rotating so fast I couldn't tell up from down. My limbs were being tossed around like a toy, and the ground continued beating on my defenseless body. Is this the curse of Oishiro-sama? No way. It couldn't be like this. But then, who are those people? I hit my head on the trunk of a massive tree and finally stopped rolling. Oh, crap. Not a good injury. Is this the end? Am I going to die right here? My whole body felt hot, especially my arm. It was burning up. So hot it felt like it was about to come off. The palm of my hand was slimy. I realized what it was without even looking. It was blood. Blood was pouring out of me. When I looked, I saw blood dripping from my right shoulder all the way to my hand. The blood was pouring profusely from my upper arm, spurting with every pulse. My arm was shot. But it was just my arm, right? I gently tried moving my ankle, and it moved. So I can still walk. I can't let myself give in to Oishiro-sama. I can still fight. Another rush of energy suddenly came to me when I realized there was still hope of survival. I put my left hand on my knee and staggered to my feet. I won't give in. Let's go. Start walking. Then, shortly after I started walking... He was close by. Please tell me it's Ueshi and the police coming to save me. Just as I heard those noises, an athletic-looking man was rolling on the ground toward me. I nearly shouted, but I caught myself and suppressed the urge. Then he tumbled to the ground right at my feet, and I noticed. It was a policeman in uniform.
これもお社様のたたりなの?
My head was spinning, but I desperately tried to comprehend the situation. Did Oishiro-sama kill a police officer? Why? Because of the curse. No way. That doesn't sound right.
村には帰るな。
I heard a voice coming from the officer at my feet. His stomach was gleaming with a dark, damp substance. The man was on the verge of death. I knew that instinctively.
南沢から離れろ。
The police officer squeezed out a few hoarse words, desperately trying to tell me something. I cautiously sat down beside the police officer. This man is going to die soon. So I'll be alright. I convinced myself of that as I moved my head closer to the policeman. The officer was coughing up blood as he squeezed out a few more words.
猛毒ガスが鬼が普通の村全員死んだ。ひなみ沢終わり。おやしろり。
After that, I could only hear the whistling sound of his breath.
ちょっとどういうことなの？毒ガスって？
I shook the police officer by the shoulders. He said that toxic gas was released from Onikafuji's swamp, and all the villagers were already dead. Was that also part of Oishiro-sama's curse?
さあ、学校に知らない人がいっぱいいたのはそれと関係があるの？
I shook his shoulders even more.
ねえ、みんな死んだってどういうこと？ねえ、教えてください。ねえ。
But the officer's neck just shook from the force. His eyes were open, but they were no longer looking at anything. He's been dead for a while now. I have no time to waste talking to corpses. So I gently set the corpse down and took a deep breath. If he's got a gun on him, I'd take it, personally. It's not like he's gonna need it anymore, and right now, you need something to fight back with. The curse of Oishiro-sama? Don't be ridiculous. Like hell I'd be Oishiro-sama's slave. Like hell I'd die. I held down the blood on my arm as I rose to my feet and began walking again. Take the gun! I recognize these mountains. If I cut through here, it shouldn't take long to reach my hideout in the garbage mountain. So I kept walking. I kept walking under the cover of darkness. They'll follow your trail of blood right to you. Once in a while, I could hear gunshots off in the distance. Maybe they were chasing a field rabbit or something, thinking it was me. Either way, I was grateful. I cradled my battered body and regulated my breathing to avoid making any noise as I continued walking forward. That police officer must have been shot by mistake, right? Suddenly, suspicion started bubbling up inside me. At that point in time, they had already shot me. They'd missed my vitals, but I was definitely shot. The enemy should have known this. But even so, they shot that policeman. That officer and I looked completely different, and were wearing completely different clothes. My heart was throbbing, and it wasn't just because of my injuries. I had no doubt that something mysterious was going on, but I had no idea what it could be. An entire village annihilated by a gas disaster? Toxic gas was pouring through the village while I was running through the forest. If that's the case, will it kill me too? Something crunched under the scraggly soles of my feet. It was an empty can. Before I realized it, I had arrived at the garbage mountain. I headed straight to the station wagon. When I opened the sliding door and found my favorite cushions neatly lined up, I felt relieved. I made it here safely. I leaned against the seat and wiped my wound with a towel. Once I applied some pressure on my arm, the pain started to recede. I never brought a first aid kit here. I'd have to go home to get one. But I thought that. But once I sank into the seat, it seemed it would be difficult to get up again. All the fatigue that had been building up finally released. It'll be okay for me to rest here a little while, right? This is my secret hideout. Nobody should be able to find me here. It's my territory. My safe zone. If I have to die from some gas disaster, I want to die sleeping here. I cautiously closed my eyes while thinking that. Rustle, rustle. My throbbing nerves started up again. I definitely heard a sound out in the darkness just now. I held my breath for a moment. There was no reply. Is somebody hiding out there? I held my breath and took a look around. I could faintly hear a sound. I'd like to turn on the lamp to get a better look at the surroundings, but that would only give away my location to the enemy. Like you shouting out who's there didn't already? So I concentrated on looking around in the dark, desperately surveying the area. Who's hiding out there? Did you come here to find me? How'd you know I'd be here? Eventually, my eyes got used to the darkness. But I thought it was strange. Something was nagging at the corner of my mind. Something seemed off. It was strange. It wasn't the sound of a person. It sounded like papers rubbing together. Papers. I was taken aback. I'd found the source of the sound.
これって、それじゃまさか。
Don't tell me someone lit a fire trap for you. I need to get going. I have to tell someone about this. No matter what it takes, I need to let someone know. I stretched out my hand into the darkness to grab the frame and pull myself out of the station wagon.
"撃たれたことすらすぐにはわからなかった。でも意識が急に重ったるくなって、それから吸い込まれるように眠気が襲ってきて、覚悟していた痛みよりも焼けるような熱さが全身を駆け巡っていった。あの子たちは見つからずに逃れることができただろうか。この流れのたどり着く先はどこだろうか。忘れた。お願い。あいつら以外の人なら誰でもいい。あの子たちを見つけ出して、そして受け取ってください。こんな悲しい運命が私で終わりますように。どうかこれに気づいたあなた、真相を解き明かしてください。これはたたりなんかじゃない。それだけが私の願いです。
Well. Well. Oh, wait a minute. Was this extra menu always here? Ah, okay. So I can just go to the main menu to read tips. That's good, because I was worried that I was gonna have to do a little backtracking through some previous saves in order to get to them. But anyway, well, about the only things that really occurred in this story arc that honestly really surprised me is how exactly certain events ended up playing out like they did. how Shion and Satoko ended up biting the bucket, and then everything that happened afterwards. I mean, I knew everybody was going to end up dead somehow as a result of Hinamizawa syndrome paranoia. But I mean, the exact way it all played out here, I mean, that did definitely surprise me a bit here and there. So congratulations to whoever wrote this particular story arc. They managed to subvert my expectations more than once. And overall, I would say in a good way, because compared to the first console arc that we've done, I say the second one was definitely a noticeable improvement in terms of overall quality. The first one so far just really feels like a rehash of chapters 1 and 2, with that just suddenly ends on a very, very sudden note. Mysterious. Like it really out of nowhere. It felt kind of it felt like, I'm not sure if lazy is the right word, but it definitely felt like a rehash of previous events from the main story that doesn't really do a whole lot to deviate from them in an interesting way. Whereas this one, I feel like it does. It seems like it was going to start. It seemed to me like it was going to start off as a very similar retread of Chapter 3's events, only with some additional players in the murder plan for Teppei. But then after everything that happened afterward, it just went in a direction I wasn't quite expecting. At least in regards to the journey that would lead to the endpoints. Because, I mean, I was right about the endpoints. I mean, who wouldn't be, honestly? It was pretty obvious how this whole thing was going to end. For anyone who's familiar with the main story and everything that's preceded it up till this point. I just wasn't sure about the exact specifics on how we would get there after that point, once Satoko witnessed firsthand Teppei's murder by the group, and how everything just snowballed out of control from there. But yeah, bottom line, I definitely think that the second arc was a definite improvement compared to the first. So, with all that being said, I believe that there's a tip that we can now look at now that I've completed this second arc. Tarai Mawashi alternate ending. Read only after completing Tsukiotoshi. Okay, let's see. You know, now that I think about it, I don't think I even saw this in the all-cast review session for Tarai Mawashi either, did I? Well, I guess we can check these both out. The nurse watching the exchange near the entrance timidly called out to Ushi and Akasaka. Akasaka looked over his shoulder and nodded, then put a hand on Ushi's shoulder and spoke.
Oishi-san, 今日はこのくらいにしておきましょう。
すみません。あと少しだけお願いします。
Then, Ushi pulled a plastic evidence bag out of his handbag. Inside of that was a lightly stained beret.
園崎美音さん、この帽子に見覚えはありませんか？
Ushi sat down by Mion's knees in a rough gesture. That instant, the playing cards fell from Mion's hands. But Ushi didn't focus on that. Instead, he moved in closer to gaze into Mion's eyes and inquire.
見たことありますよね。いや、あなたは絶対覚えているはずだ。
Reina's hat?
これはあなたのお友達だった竜宮レナさんがいつもかぶっていた帽子ではありませんか。これはですね、ひなみ沢村を流れる川の下流から発見されたものです。木箱に入って流れてきたものを釣り人が発見してくれました。ハムスターの死骸が入ったカゴと一緒にね。
Whether Mion was listening to Ushi's words or not, she was staring intently at the hat with a vacant look in her eyes. Her expression was devoid of animation, as if her emotions had broke down. It was hard to tell if she would respond or not. But Ushi steeled himself and called out to her with all his might.
わかりますか。この帽子が一緒に入っていたということは、竜宮レナさんがその木箱を川に流したということだと考えられるのです。しかし、その意図がわからない。でもあなたなら、これに込められたメッセージがわかるはずだ。いつも一緒に遊んでいた友達のあなたなら。お願いです。園崎美音さん。ひなみ沢に何が起こったのか。竜宮レナさんは何かを伝えようとした。これを解き明かせば、この大災害の秘密に少しでも迫ることができるはずなんです。だから目を覚ましてください。
刑事さん。
Ushi put his hands on Mion's shoulders as his voice roared. The moment the nurse saw that, she pulled his oversized body away from Mion.
乱暴はやめてください、刑事さん。
大石さん、落ち着いてください。
Ushi instinctively tried to shake the nurse off, but he came back to his senses after Akasaka stepped in. And then his shoulders flopped.
大丈夫ですか、園崎さん。もういい加減にしてください。今日はもうお引き取り願いますか。
すみません。やりすぎました。興奮。
こんな乱暴なことをするようでしたら、今後の面会は一切お断りさせていただきます。ここは病院で、この人は患者さんなんですよ。それを。
看護師さん、この人はひなみ沢で大勢の人を亡くしています。そのあたりの事情をどうかご理解ください。お願いします。
The nurse was agitated, but Akasaka's intervention somehow managed to smooth things over. And then, when Akasaka turned to him and flashed a signal, Ushi gently nodded.
園崎美音さん、その帽子はここに置いていきます。また明日来ますので、何か思い出したら教えてください。それでは。
Then, Ushi stepped out of the hospital room with Akasaka.
まったく。大丈夫ですか、園崎さん。
そうか。
園崎さん。
Mion was sitting silently, staring blankly at the hat resting by her knees, then suddenly raised her head and spoke up. The light in her eyes finally returned.
看護師さん、お願い。まだ遠くに行っていないはずだから。
どうしたのです、園崎さん。それにあなた、記憶が。
わかった。わかったんだ。レナの伝えたかったことが、ひなみ沢で大災害なんて起きなかったんだよ。だからお願い、早く呼び戻して。
わかりました。ちょっと待っていてくださいね。
レナ、あんた、命をかけて伝えてくれたんだね。受け取ったから。私、確かにあんたのメッセージ、受け取ったから。
Mion held that hat in the plastic bag to her chest and tightly embraced it. And then, knowing the filthy stain on the hat was a blood stain, she began spilling tears long thought lost to her. Then, the next morning, at 5:17 a.m., Mion Sonozaki was pronounced dead as a result of acute heart failure. God damn it! Just god damn it. Those fucking mountain dog scumbags. Well, then again, it was probably someone else that's related to the ones backing them, but details. Still, though, I want to hope that she managed to at least get the message to Akasaka and Ushi. Because clearly they didn't suddenly die of acute heart failure. So I mean, hey, there's at least some hope for a bittersweet ending out of all this, right? Right? Okay, so let's move on to something a little more cheerful, shall we? Taira Mawashi All-Cast Review Session. Here we are at the family restaurant.
日暮らしの泣く頃につい、たらい回しをプレイされた皆さん、お疲れ様でした。
It wasn't as hard as you think.
原作にはなかったオリジナルストーリーの第1弾、いかがでしたか？
Honestly, a little disappointing.
もしかしたらあったかもしれない、イフの世界。楽しんでもらえたら、とっても嬉しいです。
Well, then get used to not having happiness. Sorry.
楽しむも何も。あんな唐突な終わり方では何が起こったのかわけわかめでございましたよ。
She gets me. This is why you're my favorite, Satoko.
ちんぷんかんぷんなのです。
まあ確かに。なんだか気がついたら私以外みんな死んじゃってたしね。しかも生き残ったとはいえショックでまともに話できない状態とは。
Well, since the rest of you seem to get it too, I guess for now you can all be my favorite.
一体何が何やら私だってさっぱりだよ。
Except Reina. She's temporarily demoted.
そうだね。今回のたらい回しは謎を解き明かすことを回避しちゃった場合にたどり着く、ある意味で最悪の末路。
You know, I just noticed, but I got a question. Why are you all in your gym uniforms? At Angel Mort?
だから展開もわからないことだらけで、悲劇が起こった結果だけを知ることができるお話なんだって。いきなり大災害でみんな死んじゃっているなんてひどい話なのです。
I agree. That's why Chapter 3 was such a bummer.
大体お社様のたたりがどうして自然災害につながるって言うんですの？
Don't underestimate the pup.
村で起こっていた連続殺人事件とは何の関連もありませんでしょうに。
確かに。よくわからない謎だらけで全然すっきりしない終わり方だったよね。
But, as some people would tell you, it's often the unanswered mysteries that tend to stay with us the longest. So, I mean, there is definitely... So, depending on how it's done, those unanswered questions can be very effective at increasing your story's staying power. But it all depends on the skill of the author.
まあ、謎は謎でいいんだけどさ。ここまでヒントというか手がかりがない状況だと推理のしようがないよ。連続殺人事件の犯人は誰かって謎かけが村の大災害の真相を探るって話にすり替わっちゃってるしさ。これじゃこのルートにたどり着いた人たちはなんじゃこりゃーなんて言って怒っちゃうんじゃないかな。
Guilty!
まったくでございますわ。それに謎を探る前に皆さんの様子も変でございましたよ。ミオンさんはシオンさんとケイイチさんが仲良くなっただけで急に怖いというか対応が怒りっぽくなってしまいましたし、レナさんもなんだか変な感じでまるでケイイチさんのことを監視しているようで不気味な雰囲気でしたわ。
でも一番変わっていたのは圭一かもしれないのです。
うん、それは私も感じた。このシナリオのケイちゃんはなんだかヘタレっていうか平穏だった頃の日常にしがみつこうとしてるって感じで、正直かっこ悪かったね。
He is pretty good at being uncool, so don't be too hard on him.
例えばいつもの圭一くんならレナが裏山に誘った時には断ったりしないと思うの。
You know, out of context, that sounds really bizarre.
だってそこから日暮らしの世界が始まるんだからね。そんな謎が潜んでいるターニングポイントを回避している時点でやっぱり消極的な道を選んだってことになっちゃうんだよね。
Well, you heard it here, ladies and gentlemen. The real beginning of the Higurashi story started within a mountain of garbage. Not my words.
私が落ち込んでいるのを見て黙って見送るのもらしくありませんでしたわね。おせっかいくらいに優しくて私たちのことを大事に思ってくださっている圭一さんなら当然何やらと理由をつけて一緒に帰っていただけるはずですから。
そういう意味ではらしくない選択をした結果がこうだったと言えなくもないかもね。たらい回しというだけあって問題の解決から逃げ続けるだけって印象だったな。
Running and failing to run very miserably, I must add. Like, holy shit, was he bad at running from the problems.
ただね、このたらい回しには日暮らしの謎を解くために必要な重要な人が登場してくるの。最後に大石さんと出てきた赤坂さんって刑事さん、覚えてるかな
Mr. Karate Man, how could we forget?
なんだか場違いというか大石さんと対極的な刑事さんでしたわね。大石さんとはお知り合いのようでしたが。
最後のほんのわずかの登場だったけど、いかにも都会のエリート警察官ですって感じだったな。
Honestly, he's probably a few notches away from being a full-blown Power Ranger of how freaking awesome that he tends to be portrayed as.
でもそれがどう関わってくるの？
その刑事さんと接点を持つのが実はなんとリカちゃんなんだよね。ねえリカちゃん。そうなのですよ、ミパー。
リカ？どういう経緯であなたがその刑事さんとお知り合いになったんですの？
その馴れ初めのお話が警視庁公安の捜査記録の一つ、暇つぶしです。
People are gonna get the wrong idea when you describe it as a love story, Rika.
このお話はさっき出てきた赤坂刑事が主人公なのです。
ところでさ、暇つぶしって一体どんなお話なの？
It's about a man, young, green, and full of beans, going to a strange town in the middle of buttfuck nowhere, and meeting a mysterious waif.
ひなみ沢村の連続殺人事件でお社様のたたりを言われるようになったそもそものきっかけ。5年前のひなみ沢ダム建設の反対運動の頃のお話なのです。その時に起こったちょっとした事件で僕は運命の人と出会うのですよ。
People are really gonna get the wrong idea, Rika.
運命の人？リカ？それはどういうことなのでございますの？
それはプレイしてのお楽しみなのですよ、ニパー。
Oh, I see what's going on here. This is your way of tricking people into buying and playing Chapter 4, right? Clever. Very clever.
ずいぶん引っ張ってくれちゃうね。もったいぶらずに教えてくれちゃってもいいじゃないのさ。
それをバラしてしまったら面白くないのですよ。ミーもちょっとは関連してきますので、こうご期待なのですよ。
Yep, it's just a way to hook you in.
ミーちゃんも出るの？それじゃあレナは？
私は？
一回休みなのですよ、ニパー。
I know, and Chapter 4 sucks because of it. I'm kidding, of course. Tragic, I know.
え、じゃあ主人公ってケイちゃんじゃなくて、もしかして。
There you are, you wonderfully rotund gentleman.
つまりは私、クラウドこと大石クラウドのダンディズム劇場の始まりなのですよ。
Oh, I didn't know you'd practice theater.
出た
そんなに人を幽霊みたいに驚かないでくださいな。まあそれはともかくとして、第0章暇つぶしは私たち大人の時間ですから、良い子の皆さんにはまだ早いアダルティックでムーディーな日暮らしの始まりってことですよ。なはははは。
Lies. We had children, and they were causing quite a lot of mischief for construction workers.
大石さんの口から聞くと、ものすごくいかがわしいイメージしか湧いてこないんだけど、なんでかな。
Careful, you might give certain people in the fan community ideas.
日頃が日頃だからね。このゲームの対象年齢を一気に引き上げてきそうで、こっちとしてはものすごく不安だよ。どんな話の展開になるのやら。
大石さん。
There's Mr. Beta Power Ranger.
一応、私たちは公務員なんですから、せめて税金を払っている皆さんの範になる振る舞いをお願いしますよ。
あの刑事さんだ。
I agree. Stop lying to the taxpayers.
赤坂さんって呼んでいいのかな。
お好きなように。どうも皆さん、お疲れ様でした。
お疲れ様です。あれ、そういえばケイちゃんは？
前原さんならもう次の台本読みに入っているそうですよ。暇つぶしで出番がない分、遅れを取り戻すって言ってましたが。
Oh, is that the next one I'm gonna be reading? Console arc? Wait a minute. I wish I could better keep track of all the names of these arcs. Can't tell if this is one from the console arcs or one I've already read from the main story.
お気持ちはよくわかりますが、この前圭一さんの台本をちらっとお見かけしましたが、前半だけでも電話上5冊分は優に超えておりましたもの。
It's quite the script. Himatsubushi. Try to remember that name.
最初は、季節は早いがスタッフからのお中元かなんて喜んでたら、中にはぎっしり紙の束というか、まさに巨大な塊が詰まっていたもんね。正気の沙汰とは思えなかったのです。あの厚さならマグナムだって防げてしまえるのですよ。
Damn. Now I want a book like that.
いや、それはオーバーじゃなかったね。閉じる穴開けようと思ったら千枚同士が根元から折れちゃったくらいだし。
Well, if nothing else, a book like that would make for a really good doorstop.
リカちゃんはまだいいよ。セリフまだ少ない方だったし。みーちゃんとしーちゃんなんかレナよりも多くて。そういえばしーちゃんは？
I got a better question. Why are you all in your gym uniforms?
あの子も居残り。まさかこんなに早く出番があるとは思ってなかったみたいでさ、全然準備してなかったせいで NG 連発しちゃって。ま、ある意味自業自得だけど。
とはいえ、私たちも暇つぶしではセリフが増えますからね。この後スタジオに戻る予定です。
そういうわけですから、すみませんがそろそろ始めちゃってもよろしいですかな。あまり時間もありませんので。
はい、そうですね。それじゃあ圭一くんは別の日に私たちだけの会を開くとして。
Oh yeah, I just suddenly remembered. Thank you for killing Keiichi the way you did and not depriving me of my life savings. You made me richer, Reina. Thank you very much.
みーちゃん、みんなに飲み物配ってくれるかな？
はいよ。それじゃあビールは大石さん、赤坂さんで。
Hey, you're a minor. Who gave you permission to handle the alcohol?
リカちゃんとサトコはジュースだよね。
さすがにコンシューマーゲームの舞台の中だと未成年のアルコールはご法度でございましたよ。というわけで僕もワインじゃなくてブドウジュースなのです。
Yeah, well, thing is, I know all about your secret wine bottle in your house, so I'm sure you'll drink yourself into a stupor later on just fine.
っていうかリカちゃん、まさかワインを飲んだことが？冗談なのです。
Liar!
お酒は20歳からのお約束なのですよ。
Well, from a certain point of view, you're well past 20.
みんな、コップは行き渡ったかな？
Although thinking about it now, I can't help but wonder how you could even get your hands on a wine bottle.
それじゃ、レナが温度を取るね。では、たらい回し終了。お疲れ様でした。お疲れ様でした。
とりあえず大石さんと赤坂さんは後ろがあるみたいだからさ、手短に今回のシナリオを振り返ってみよう。まずはサトコ、なんかある？
振り返るも何もこう出番が少ないとどう申し上げてよいのか分かりませんわ。右に同じなのです。レナはそうだね、最初は図書館から出てきた圭一くんをからかってるはずだったのに、大石さんの尋問から家に戻ってきた圭一くんを待ち伏せして脅迫みたいな感じで詰め寄ったりしたのは変な感じだったね。
あの時レナはケイちゃんを口止めするつもりだったのかな。そうまでしてケイちゃんの動きを封じようとしたレナの意図は何か。そしてレナは殺人事件について何を隠して知っていたのか。そのあたりが分からずじまいだから類推というよりも憶測でしか想像ができないよね。
とっても不親切なシナリオなのですよ。
あ、そういえば一点だけ気になったんですが、1年前の北条聡子さんの叔母が殺された時、園崎美音さん、紫音さんが相次いで姿を消したって言ってましたよね。これってどういうことなんでしょうか？
You know, I forgot about that little detail. Yeah, we never got an answer for that either, did we?
言葉の通りに考えてみますと、二人が共謀して叔母を殺したか、あるいは何らかの関与をしたかということにもなりますが、裏を取った証拠がないだけにこれも憶測でしか判断ができないんですよね。
Somehow I don't think that's it.
村人の誰かが目撃しているということはないんですの？ひなみ沢も沖宮もそんなに広い場所ではございませんし、誰にも見つからずというのは結構難しいと思いますが。
まあとはいえ園崎家をはじめとする御三家はひなみ沢一帯では神聖不可侵の存在ですからね。村人全員でかくまってしまったらその動向は完全に闇の中へと入っちゃいますよ。
で、その結末が村を全滅させた大災害。たたりで片付ければ一言で終わりなんだけど、どうしてこういう展開になったのかが全くわかんないよ。
そもそもこの事件が人の手によって起こされたものか、それを整理するところから始めなければいけません。そして万一人の手によるものなら、そこにあるはずの 誰かにとってのメリットというものを見出さなくては。
In the back of my mind, I started wondering why are they talking about the mysteries behind the Hidemazawa disaster as though we don't know the answer. But then I remembered a little detail about the console arcs in regards to, well, they were presented in the original Japanese updated releases in such a way to where you had to play certain parts of the original story, and then get interspersed with, and then the whole thing gets interspersed with console arc chapters before you then had to get to the answer arcs of the main story proper. So, okay, that was a real stupid way of explaining it, but basically, the Japanese release of this version of Hinamizawa on the PS2, it basically structured the entire story with the new console arcs to where they basically had to play them both back to back with console arcs interspersed in between main story events until you eventually got through the whole thing. And as such, I guess that would explain why stuff like this is written the way that it is, because technically I'm supposed to have played this chapter before this console arc chapter before I got to the answer arcs, and especially the ending of the main story proper, if I were playing the original Japanese release. A little bit of long-winded and poorly explained trivia for you.
誰かにとってのメリットですか？
ええ。犯罪には必ず誰かにとっての有益性が存在する。それが解明できれば、おのずと関与する人たちの意図やその顔ぶれが見えてくるものですよ。
じゃあ連続開始事件をこれまで引き起こしてきて、最後に大災害で村人全員が死んだ結末には誰にとってのメリットがあるっていうの？
正直に言いましてどうこうと判断するには証拠もそして事件の詳細も不明な点が多すぎます。そういう意味でこれらの事件が起こった端緒である5年前、ダム建設反対運動がどのように行われて結果どうなったのかをまずは調べる必要があるでしょう。推理はそこから始めても遅くはないと思いますが。
そうですね。今の段階では根拠もなくあれこれと言い合っているだけですし、もっと事件についていろいろと情報を仕入れるべきかと思います。
他のシナリオにも重要なヒントが隠されているかもしれないのですよ。
それもそうだね。それじゃ暇つぶしは大石さんと赤坂さんに任せて、私たちは自分たちが登場するシナリオをもう少しじっくり読んできっちり考えてみるとしますか。
それでは引き続き日暮の泣く頃に睡をお楽しみくださいね。
Okay, so while it's still relatively fresh on my mind, I want to take a look at the titles for the console arcs here. I'm not seeing that Himatsubushi, I think that's what it was, chapter. So I think that was chapter 4, actually, the main story. Okay, I just wanted to double check to make sure that they weren't talking about another console arc. Let's go back. I need silence. So, okay. Maybe it ties into what I was saying about how the original updated Higurashi Japanese release was structured in regards to how the main story was interspersed with console arc chapters. But why did I need to read? Why did I need to read the second console arc that I just covered before getting the alternate ending for the first one? They all take place in different timelines, so unless it's like the last two chapters of the main story. Well, chapter 6, I guess, also played at Japan too. To be fair, I'm thinking about it now, but unless it's like the answer arcs where memories of events that occurred in other timelines start to gradually worm their way into the heads of the main characters, sans Rika-chan, and Hanyu, because, well, they're the time travelers, so to speak, so they pretty much remember everything. Unless it's something like that, where events from other timelines could find a way to influence the memories of the characters. Why was it necessary for me to clear a wholly different story arc, a wholly different timeline, just to get an alternate ending of another console arc that ultimately has no impact had no impact on each other one way or the other? How does the second arc, the console arc's events influence the first one in such a way to where we'd get that alternate ending? And from the details that were described in the alternate ending regarding the hat and the box and all that stuff, I don't know. It doesn't really it's not really making any sense to me. Why I had to view the second console arc before viewing that specific tip. If the events of the different arcs don't really directly influence each other in any way, especially in this way where memories from alternate timelines clearly didn't even play a factor at all for any of it. Does that make sense? Am I being coherent right now? Well, I think I've said all that needs to really be said for now, so I think what I'm going to do is I'm just going to go ahead and end things here, and I guess we will get started on the next console arc in the next episode. So, I hope you guys enjoyed this latest episode of the Higurashi When They Cry console arcs. If you did, and you want to see more content from me, feel free to subscribe to my channel. I will see you all next time. Take care.